raising awareness through every track. All-Star PD Sportscast on the rise, shouting loud, reaching the skies. Can't stop, won't stop, our game is strong, fighting Parkinson's all day long.
Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of the All-Star PD Sportscast. We're the co-host, Tim. I get this right. Tim Lockhart, and I'm Dr. George Ackerman, Sharon's son, George. You can find me at togetherforsharon.com and Tim all over social media at my PD Party. He's a brother of mine in this advocacy. Tim's battling Parkinson's, but there's not a day, as he knows, or a night with my late night text that I'm not battling right by his side. But on this show, we discuss the world of sports and slowing the progression of Parkinson's. And before we take it away and introduce our really inspiring and one of my heroes, our guest today, wanted to send the show to Tim for another beautiful high five welcome.
There you go. Hey guys, what is shaking? So listen, I live in New Jersey. I am so excited to do this today. I'm shoveling, to be honest with you. But listen, anybody who knows me or follows me knows that there's always been a very soft spot in my heart for Muhammad Ali, as obviously billions of other people's, but for a different reason from me. Listen, we always talk about advocacy and people getting out there, and the bigger the spotlight, the bigger the advocacy. And honestly, the first time that I think the world put a picture to Parkinson's, so to speak, was actually Muhammad Ali lighting the torch at the Olympics. And obviously, we just got done with the Olympics, so I wanted to mention that. But I'm so excited for our guest today because, listen, anytime you talk to somebody who's affiliated with Muhammad Ali or his foundation, you want to have him on and just to talk about him. So I'm excited for today.
Really appreciate your time and friendship as always. You see, I'll be running at FAU and another walk race for Parkinson's awareness. I've done 3 now, one with Parkinson's Foundation in Miami, went to Disney for Michael J. Fox, and now decided to take it back to my mother and her memory. We'll be doing that this month, and I'll be tagging All-Star PD Sportscast. Everyone go to Instagram. We really want the world to be aware, because this is not, again, just a regular Parkinson's awareness show. Here is for all you sports fans, and for Tim and I, of course, Peter will introduce in a moment. Sports is in our hearts, so this is where we go. But I wanted to also mention how it was an honor, and Tim, I want to say one quick comment. We both had the opportunity. Tim actually heard her speak. Unfortunately, I missed my flight, but I got the opportunity to shake hands and meet Mrs. Ali. So maybe, Tim, you wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And actually, before we get into the guest, I want to explain to everybody, and obviously our guest Peter, I want him to know where I come in with Muhammad Ali. Just take a quick second. I was always very big into sports memorabilia. When my first son was born, albeit 25 years ago, I went to a sports autograph show, and I bought a ticket to see Muhammad Ali. And as I'm slowly but surely getting to the front of the line, pushing my youngest in his stroller, he was maybe 6 months old, little baby. He get to the front of the line, and Muhammad Ali asked his aides to help him stand up, and he stood up, and he was having a tough time talking to me. And he took his arms out, and he reached for my son. He wanted me to take my son out of the stroller, and I did. And obviously, I didn't know what Parkinson's was. I didn't even know he had it. I mean, granted, I was about like 20 years old, but I was naive. I didn't know what it was yet. So he's holding my newborn, and obviously his hands are shaking. So I'm a little nervous as the dad. But he literally lifted him up like Mufasa in The Lion King and kissed him on the forehead. That is a picture that lives in our family forever. It was such a great moment for us. And just to see people come up to him and want to kiss his feet, literally. I mean, his reach was so amazing, how his life touched so many people. But now coming full circle, obviously 20 years later, I get diagnosed with Parkinson's. And so meeting Muhammad Ali was my first experience with Parkinson's. So I told my kids about it, and I didn't know how my kids were going to deal with it, to be honest with you. So my oldest son, who was the son who Muhammad Ali had kissed, ran out and got a tattoo of Muhammad Ali, because it was his way of kind of saying, like, Dad, I don't know how to deal with this, but we always knew Muhammad Ali was going to come full circle somehow. And that was kind of like our little tie there. And getting to Lonnie Ali, when I went to the Parkinson's Policy Forum, I was scared. I didn't know how to advocate. I wrote a long speech that I wanted to talk about to Senator Cory Booker, and as well as other senators that were there in Washington. And lo and behold, who walks in? Lonnie Ali. She's a guest speaker that morning. So after she spoke at breakfast, I had the courage to walk up to her and talk to her and tell her about what I just told you. She hugged me. She made a beautiful video to my son Ryan, took a picture with me. So we broke away. I went to my first meeting at Governor Booker's office. Who walks in again? Lonnie Ali. I said, Miss Ali, what are you doing here? She goes, I'm here to see you talk. And now I'm really nervous. She goes, what are you holding? I'm holding a piece of paper. She goes, I said, this is the speech I prepared. She goes, you don't need that. Put it down. She goes, you talk from your heart. That's what's going to make a difference. That made a huge difference because that's exactly what I did. Everybody was raving about my speech, and I've done nothing but talk with people from Washington and lawmakers since about moving the needle for Parkinson's. So I've always had a touch of the Ali family in my life, and to this day, it's come full circle, and it means so much to me. So I'm so honored, to have Peter on.
What a great story.
Thank you.
Well, it's tough to follow. We don't usually put our guests on that spot, but here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome, Peter, to the show. Peter's someone I consider family. He's been on our show, Q&A with Sharon's son, George, but I had so much fun and really learned so much. So I feel like we grew a little together that I wanted to definitely have you on our show here. I also want to thank Peter. You could bring it up the story because it's beautiful, but thank Tim for also adding the stamp of Muhammad Ali to the background. As an attorney, I hope no one will come after us
No,
just for educational purpose and awareness. But I wanted to again welcome you, Peter, to the show. You're doing so many incredible things, not just at the Ali Center, but really worldwide. If you could tell us a little bit about your background and your affiliation with the Ali Center, please share that if you can with us now.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be here. I can tell you guys have a very strong, unique partnership. Peter Villegas, born in a small town in LA, California, youngest of 7 brothers. Sports was how we kept together and kept us, out of trouble and helped us develop tremendous skills that we all apply today in each of our respective industries. About 25 years in corporate America. I was at External Affairs, Corporate Responsibility for JP Morgan Chase, and then led the Office of Latin Affairs for Coca-Cola for North America. Now I'm co-chair here at Actum, which is an international strategic consulting firm. And I also am the chairman of the California State Athletic Commission. It's an appointment which we oversee and regulate all boxing and MMA and combat sports throughout the state of California. And I'm also on the board of the Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville and other things, but I wanted to be respectful of time. So I'm excited to be here. I love that sports is me.
Well, Peter, tell us.
Period.
Obviously, something about Mr. Ali hooked you at a young age. What was your first recollection of seeing him, and then obviously following up with that? Was there something that just stuck inside you that was like, listen, this guy is a winner. He's an advocate. I mean, what was it that tied you to him?
Well, he was. This is 19. I was born in '67. Being the youngest of 7 boys, you get beat up for waking up. So I had to, and my family loved boxing. And my dad used to box. He's from Mexico, Sonora, Mexico. So he was an immigrant, and we loved boxing. But it was really not just him inside the ring, but outside the ring, where his confidence really helped me develop my confidence. Not just where we lived, we moved from a predominantly minority community to a white community. So we had to deal, this is in the early 70s, where you get in trouble for speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
So you had to be, just like I do today. When Ali walked into the ring, he walked in with conviction, with confidence, and ready to handle business. And that's how it helped me walk into rooms, walked into new communities. Obviously, the boxing, he was just an incredible fighter, which I'm 31-0 outside the ring.
Yeah.
I got in a lot of trouble, but his swag and especially for him speaking up on things that he believed in and was willing to sacrifice. That's something that I've always done my whole life by serving on boards and getting involved with organizations that represent people who oftentimes don't have a voice. And I think not that I promote fighting, but once you handle somebody, when you handle a sixth grader, when you're in second grade, it's easier getting through school.
Listen, there are some life lessons with boxing.
Yeah. And but don't let anybody push you around. And Ali did that for me. But especially the confidence.
One area I wanted to go back for a minute, then we're going to move forward. Tim has some exciting questions too, but you were able to not just have Muhammad Ali as a role model, probably an idol, like many heroes around the world he is to us still today. But what was it like, unfortunately, in the tougher times, seeing him go from, before we even never heard of the word back then, I believe many weren't aware of Parkinson, to seeing him kind of fight, struggle, and still fight, even though he was battling. I know me and you spoke about the Olympics and how
Yeah.
that moment was huge, but maybe you could tell us a little bit of a beautiful story.
That's a great question. For me, it exposed me to what he was going through Parkinson's, but the way he handled it, he went from the prettiest, the loudest, the Louisville lip to the disability that we all saw in his later days. And I myself have gone through some disabilities. I've had rheumatoid arthritis since I was 20. I had a spinal infection. I've had some tough times, and the way he handled his um, challenges with Parkinson's helped me handle my challenges physically, but also with life. You know, when you get knocked down, you got to get up. And he's always stood up. And I just love that he could have been focused on being vain and trying to stay pretty and not want to be seen with his disability, but he helped promote an understanding of what the disease was and what it did to you. And he had so much pride. He handled it like he handled his championship belts, with pride,
Another fight.
not afraid to say, hey, this is who I am, and it doesn't define me. It's something I have to deal with, but it doesn't define who I am as a person. And I think that's helped me. Again, not just with the physical disabilities, but with any challenge I have in life, whether professional or personal.
Well,
It
you're right.
doesn't define me.
You just said something very key that I wanted to touch upon. He had every right, like anybody else with Parkinson's or any disability, to just suffer in silence and stay out of the public eye. But think of the progress he helped make by putting himself out there. And like Lonnie had said to me that day, you see that torch shaking a little bit on the Olympics. That's the grandest stage that there is. Listen, obviously it's sad, but there's something beautiful about it. It's how somebody like me who has Parkinson's, the beautiful part about that is if he could do it, meaning putting himself out there, so can I. And
Right.
and if there's anybody going to be somebody who's going to fight, the greatest of all time is going to do it. And to put that out on film and TV, let the world see it. Like, hey, I've got something going on too, but I'm not laying down. I'm fighting. That I saved millions of people. No doubt.
Right. The compassion that people had, so it educated a lot of people and be more compassionate to people who have some challenges. I did talk to Janet Evans one time. She's the Olympic swimmer from Orange County, California, who handed Muhammad the torch.
Yeah.
And I asked her, what was that like? And she said, I would have traded all of my medals for that experience. That experience was incredible. And that's the type of person he was. What I love about the champ is that regardless if the younger generation, if their hero is Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Tom Brady, those guys, their hero is Muhammad Ali.
Correct.
He's the hero's hero.
And to just tell us a little bit about Lonnie Ali, because I got to tell you, in the dealings I've had with her, she is such an amazing, amazing woman. What kind of relationship do you have with her?
She's fantastic, but she loves coconut cream pie because we ate all of it at my house. She came to my house. Usually, when people come to like at Lonnie's level, when they come to LA, we'll meet them at a hotel or a restaurant. And I said, "Where are you staying? I'll come meet you." She goes, "No, I'm coming to your house. I want to meet you. I want to learn about you." So if she doesn't come to my house and see some of the poster stamps that I had of Roberto Clemente and Cesar Chavez, then this stamp doesn't happen because it wouldn't have been brought up. Because she came to that house, to my house, um, it was special. Not just a robotic meeting, because she wanted to get to know me because I was coming on the board. And it taught me a great lesson that I now apply is I want to meet people in their real setting.
It's
I don't
important.
want to just go through, a generic setting. And she's fantastic. She's
Agree.
funny. She's giving. She's a hustler. She's a legend in her own right.
Well, that's
And
why I asked about you because she's still advocating, which
yeah,
is not from the bottom of my heart. Thank her enough.
yes. And I do, I sent my daughter, whose name is Ali, I named her Ali, to Louisville by herself to help to help support and work at the Muhammad Ali Center. And she called me and she goes, "Hey, Pop, Lonnie invited me over for dinner. What do I do?" I said, "Well, just, eat, chew your food and and have your manners." But I thought, that was special. She didn't have to take the time to invite my daughter
Agree.
over to dinner and then go pick her up. So she's a tremendous person, just an angel in her own right. And I love her dearly.
Well, we send our love to her, the whole family. Hope she'd join us someday on the show. We've had some of the other incredible family. I actually spoke to one of them recently on the phone, and we just want to make sure that everyone out there not just remembers Mr. Ali, but realizes beautiful things you're all still doing at the Ali Center. Everyone should be able to see now that you can also support all the work that Peter and the center is doing at alicenter.org. I know you've told me before, but maybe for the audience, you could tell us a little bit about what they can find at the center and how incredible it is that they can virtually also visit the site and learn everything from their own home now, which is helpful.
Yeah, it's great. Even though it's based in Louisville now with technology, you can look up and see all of the archives that they have there. It's really focused on the principles outside the ring. Obviously, it touches on his activities and his incredible performances inside the ring, but it's really focused on his compassion, his spiritual beliefs, the confidence, uh, and the six principles that he lived by. Uh, and that's what I think, especially now in today's day and age, we need to help our our current generation and younger generation, teach them the importance and the special trait of compassion. Even someone may not look like you, or may have a disability or have a different belief. They can be a special person in your life. Look what you and I have done, George, just through us. I appreciate our special relationship, and that's what we're trying to do with the current and future generations across the world is show what this man, the principles he lived by, and hopefully they can reach their leadership and their goals and being compassionate at the same time.
Well, certainly a guy like Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. That's the kind of people that we want to show our youth, that we want to be remembered for all time. So now I'm going to ask you my last question because I know your time is limited. Talk to us about the Forever Stamp. How did it come about? How did something like that happen? Just give us a little feedback as to how that story comes about.
I think, Ali had a lot to do with it. The belief that you can do anything you want. No one's going to stop me, even though I may not have the credentials. But I met Mayor Fisher from Louisville while I was working at JP Morgan Chase. He introduced himself. He said, "Hello, I'm Mayor Greg Fisher from Louisville." I immediately said Muhammad Ali, and we've had a tremendous 10-year friendship. He asked me if I would want to go on to the Muhammad Ali Center board. I said, "Of course, I want to help out, whatever I can do." He says, "Okay, Lonnie's going to call you." Lonnie called me, and she came to the house. That was key.
Yeah.
If she doesn't come to the house,
Mhm.
like I said, I don't realize I don't have a Muhammad Ali stamp because I had one of Roberto Clemente and Cesar Chavez, and I felt bad. And I said, "Did the champ have a stamp?" And she said, "No." And I immediately said, "Can I do this? Can I get him one? Can I make this happen?" I didn't have a game plan. I didn't have a strategy, but I made it happen. And I worked with my daughter on this stuff. And I think that was him. You can do anything you want to do if you don't, even regardless if you have, the resume. I've never gotten a stamp before, but I figured it out and I applied my passion and whatever skills I had to make this happen. It took about 3 years. We had to advocate for it. We had a campaign called hashtag Get the Champ a Stamp.
Mhm.
And we just kept at it. My daughter said we need some merch. I didn't even know what merch was. And so we had some t-shirts made and then we got some folks to support it online with the
No.
social media campaign. And it was a tremendous 3 years.
And isn't it funny in today's day and age where everything's mostly like email and not so much like physical mail, that the greatest of all time, who's unstoppable, is going to get put through the post office, which is what, a rain or a sleet or a snow. It's funny how things kind of come together like that.
I know, and everybody I've talked to about it said he doesn't already have one. It was amazing. They just assumed.
Yeah, how could he not?
Yeah, how could he not? But that's probably it's beyond a dream. You don't even think of this stuff to come ahead of you. But his what he taught me, and I don't care what I got to face. I'm not scared. I'll handle it. Um, is really what led and gave me the courage and the skill set and the commitment to make this happen. So, it's him. And he influenced this little, son of an immigrant to do some pretty interesting things. And just how he is what I've tried to, implement into my life. I don't think you saw this, George, but one of the pictures I have in my office is of him getting knocked down by Joe Frazier when he went down, and everybody sees it and he goes, "If you're such an Ali fan, why do you have him when he's knocked down?" I said, "Because you got to get up. Everything's great when you have your hands raised and you no problems, but a true champion, a true you you find out who you really are when you get knocked down." And that's a reminder to me, get up. Life is hard. Life is like Joe Frazier,
Yeah.
nonstop. He's going to keep coming. Something's going to come at you. And Ali has helped me deal with life, but has helped me do so many things.
Listen, not a better role model to have.
Yeah.
And we showed a few images of Mr. Ali, the family, and all the work they do, but there's not a lot, but there's a few people who I believe, and I'm sure all you will agree, is an icon. You don't even need to put the picture because it's literally, he's almost ingrained in all of our minds for being a hero. He always will be, but even more as someone who battled Parkinson. But like my mother, as we talked in the past, we don't ever let their memory be forgotten just because they lost their battle. He's still fighting on, and Tim and all of our work and advocacy, and it's such an honor to be able to sit down with you, Peter, and the work you're doing is just, again, really not just helping us, but the future generation. So wanted to thank you again.
Hey, don't thank me. I'm a big believer that, the higher being, you know, has wonderful people, strong, courageous warriors that can handle these types of things. And I think he wanted to promote Parkinson's, and who better to pick than Muhammad Ali to promote it and show the world dealing with it. And everybody else who dealt with it is a warrior. Um, Special, they're angels. And you guys, continuing to advocate for this important and such it's a issue that everybody needs to understand. Even if you don't have it, even if you never deal with it, you need to understand it and be supportive. So through your efforts, you have me as an advocate and supporter for you guys and dealing with this issue. So I know that your mom had to deal with it, but I'm sure I've never met her, but I'm sure she was a warrior in her own right and a special person.
Thank you. And I always say if we could, maybe Tim could figure it out, but we need a drum roll because at this point of the show is a special time. But today I feel out of all the shows, even though we never compare because we love everyone, we have a special quote from Tim. But imagine it's probably going to be from Mr. Ali.
Well, and,
I hope so.
doing the show is try and close with it with a nice inspirational ending quote from somebody who's in that sports arena. But like George alluded to, Mr. Ali had more quotes than better. So how could I not pick one of his? There were so many to choose from. But since we're talking about helping future generations and talking about higher powers, this quote means a lot to me. Service to others is the rent that you pay for the room that you have on this earth. What a beautiful quote, because basically what he is saying is help others. You're going to need it one day, and it comes full circle. You kind of like you get what you give. There's nothing wrong with helping other people, and especially in this Parkinson's community. Listen, this is a disease that affects everybody differently. So it's very tough for a doctor to tell you, here's the med you need, or here's how to feel.
Right.
So this community, the bond is huge. And to be able to help other people and pay it forward is huge. So to me, that quote means an awful lot coming from somebody who did it his whole life.
And the family and friends and supporters is what helps people deal with it. They don't. I don't think that the family and friends and supporters of somebody that has it understand how important their role is and the fuel it gives them to carry on.
Absolutely.
And I know you gave a quote from Muhammad Ali, but when we had the celebration, when we revealed the stamp in Louisville, January 15th, this is what he does to me. I gave a poem. I did a poem on my own. And I said, look, I'm not a poet. I've never done a poem in front of people, but I think that's what he does to me is I'll do things I've never done before. You guys want to hear the poem I gave in front of people? And you guys know he was named, they call him the Louisville Lip.
Listen, every word that came out of his mouth was a poem.
So this is what I came up with because of him for this issue. Lonnie stared at my poster stamps of Roberto Clemente and Cesar Chavez, two legends who are Hispanic, but I didn't have one for Muhammad Ali, and I started to panic. When I realized he didn't have one, I asked, but why? And then the idea popped, well, let's do this for the butterfly. We were gathered there to celebrate this incredible success thanks to the intelligence of USPS. So from this day forward, when a child looks up at night, they'll see a group of stars smiling very bright. That child will ask, is that the Big Dipper? And you tell them the truth and say, no, that's the Louisville Lipper.
Wow. Unbelievable. I love it.
It's going to be hard
I put myself out there, man, but I don't care.
Listen, I'm jealous I didn't think of it. That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, they're the only people I told. Just because you guys are doing your thing, I figured I'd put myself out there and show.
Just told a lot of people, so.
Yeah. Hopefully now it'll be out there in the world, and we love it. We appreciate you, and
I'm glad I remembered it.
It's going to be hard.
A headband though.
Yeah, we'll have to make one for our show and send you one, and we'll have another episode. But really, it's hard to close the show after that. It's not just Mr. Ali, but all the work you do, Peter, and your friendship mean the world to both of us and motivate me to realize even on the tougher days that I can't give up, even though I can't bring my mother back, which I thought about how to do. Didn't, it's not going to work out, but to fight with Tim by his side and everybody listening, your families is why we do this, why, I'm lucky and honored to be able to call Tim my friend and brother in this and have actually met him, give him a hug, and I hope to do it again very soon. But I just want to send again love and support to you, Peter, your family, to Tim, to everybody out there. Hope you'll also support Peter in his work, and also, of course, Ali Center. Very important. This can never be forgotten because of all of us. He lives on through all of you, too. I don't know if, Tim, you had any other last second words. I never say final comments because the show continues after the lights, paparazzi leave. The show continues till we find a cure around the world for everybody.
I certainly just want to thank Peter again. It was so nice for him to come on and share some inside stuff as far as the foundation, what happens there, how you could access it, and certainly the stamp, which is so cool, how that all kind of came about. And obviously the effect that Mr. Ali had on his life, like he did for me and many others. He touched people in different ways, and it's important to see that.
Well, thank
Thank
you, Tim. And also, you can find Tim again at my PD Party Instagram and all over the world. Can find Peter also at the Ali Center. Please donate, support them. They're putting on incredible programs. We didn't have time, but just scrolling through in 3 seconds, I love to see more of Mr. Ali's artwork. You don't think of all that, but when you think of creativity in the ring, it's also out of the ring, and it lives on today through his work at the museum and the center. Also, you can find me at togetherforsharon.com. A lot of exciting stuff happening. I'm heading to Washington again to advocate for funding for the NIH, which has not been easy the last year, as Tim knows. Tim's also, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but we'll be heading to New York City again for the team MVP. Congratulations on the gala. Hope someday I join you. And also, I didn't announce it. Still don't want to jinx it, but I had the honor to be interviewed by CBS finally. It took 6 years, and that'll be actually airing Monday. I still probably shouldn't say anything because I'm a little bit of a worry person where I think something will happen and then it won't air. But we have a lot of exciting things. Tim's working hard and also still battling this until he's not. And all of you, I'll be right by your side. This has been another episode of All Star PD Sportscast, a little teeny show. The two guys who just had some things in common and love sports just somehow came about 2 years ago. And it's just incredible the guests we've had, the friends we've made, and the people we've reached. And hopefully, as Tim likely will agree, if we just reach one person each show, make sure you know you're not alone, then we've changed the world for the better. This is a show where we discuss the world of sports, following the progression of Parkinson's disease. We'll concentrate a little on that maybe next show, and we want to send our love to everybody. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Peter. Thank you, everybody out there. We love you, and we'll see you
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Doug.
guys.
Take care.
Thank you.